Ooh, boys and girls, welcome back to another video. Let me just have some water. Now, the reason that this video looks a lot more different than usual is because I was out all day. And I'm not very organized right now, I'll be honest. But we're still trying our best, and we're still going to bring you content every single day over here on YouTube. And today's video, we're going to be talking about how to get the best results in FUT Champions, and how do you win the games that you find more difficult. Alright? Now, it isn't exactly easy, not for anybody. Like, FUT Champions is crazy. And the gameplay you're seeing behind you, or behind me right now, is a game in Elite Divisions where I did manage to pull out a bit of a dub. But, against a guy called Dernico, who is a pretty, big German YouTuber slash Twitch streamer, I think. I think when I was streaming it, he had like over 500 views. So somebody said when I came into the chat. But yeah, boys and girls, pretty much what we're going to be talking about today. I want to make sure that you guys are ready mentally going into FUT Champions this weekend. The FUT Champions Finals, as it's now called. And you can see the rewards. The rewards themselves are actually unreal this year, especially for the lower tier player when it comes to FUT Champs. Like 8 to 12 is crazy, 12 to 8 is crazy, and the top rewards being 16 and 4. There's nothing there for the 20 and 4 people. And that's okay, as a player myself, that will be considered pretty good. I don't really care. I know I probably should, because I should want most of the rewards that I can get. But it is what it is. I'm not going to moan. I'm just going to sit there. I'm going to play the game, and I'm going to win all the games that I can. I'm going to do everything in my power to do that. And I'm going to help you do the exact same thing. So let's go on and talk about the topics that I have to speak about regarding FUT Champions Finals and how to get the most amount of wins in FUT Champions Finals. Now, the first thing that I should mention to you, you should do is spread out your games, alright? So you have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to play 20 games. Now, that's actually not a lot, really. Like, say you've done 6 games each day, that's 2 hours of your day each day. A lot of us will take the time out the whole week, say in the weekend, to do the 20 games, and I would recommend spreading them out across the 3 days. Probably playing your least amount on a Friday, because that's when the servers tend to go kaboom at about 6 p.m. UK time because of, promo packs or whatever. And also, like, the games are pretty hard on a Friday, or they tend to be, so I would recommend maybe, capping your games to 5 or 6 on a Friday. And then on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I would probably do 7 or 8 on the Saturday, and then the remainder on the Sunday. The reason I say that is obviously the games are more easy when you go into the weekend further. And I just think, Fridays are meant to be good days. Fridays, and then the weekend is supposed to be good as well, don't get me wrong. But Friday is the day to build your confidence in FUT Champions. And then Saturday and Sunday is where you have to grind it out yourself and really get through those tough games. And you should be putting yourself in the best situation possible on the Friday for Saturday and Sunday. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, by spreading out your games, is 5 on a Friday, probably 7 on a Saturday, and 8 on a Sunday, if that makes sense. So 5, 7, 8 is the way I'm going to be doing it, and I'd probably recommend you to do the same. Now, it's all well and good playing these games and doing what you can to win, but there's also other ways that you can get good and stay good at FIFA other than actually playing the game. And that kind of really brings me into drinking plenty of water and having a meal before you play. I'm not saying have like a bleeding bowl of spaghetti bolognese just before you play. I just mean, you're not going in starving, or you're not hungry, because it's just not a good feeling, is it? Your mental capacity is worried about the food and intake of water. It's not actually concentrating on what's in front of you, the game. And I know it sounds crazy saying that, but this is all genuinely a cerebral way of thinking of FUT Champions and thinking of different ways to win without actually playing. If it puts you in a better mental capacity to play FIFA, it is good for your brain, because it's never good to be thinking about other things while playing FIFA, so like if you're working from home and you want to jump on a game of FUT Champs, I'd recommend against it, because your brain is elsewhere. If you're playing a game of FUT Champs, you want to be drilled into that game and nothing else distracting you around you. And I understand a lot of you probably don't have that novelty, and that's fair enough too. Not a lot of us do, and just as much or as least distraction as possible, whether it be hunger, thirst, your children, or your girlfriend wanting to do the diddly. Just try and minimize the amount of distractions you can have, especially when it comes to thirst and hunger, because even though they don't actually speak, they're probably the loudest distraction of all, in my opinion, especially when you're trying to concentrate cerebrally, as I said. The next thing we're going to mention is don't play when you're tired, of course, or you have cold hands. No, don't call me weird. Cold hands is a huge issue for FIFA. FIFA requires you to be fast for the most part. I understand it's a slow game, but if you want to be quick in FIFA, you're going to have to, have hot hands, or normal hands, I guess. I always have cold hands. I live in the attic. This is the attic, all right? And I don't really have the heater, the radiator is behind my bed there. So everything is just difficult, and everything is cold. And right now I'm only after coming in from a lunch, and I'm in a lovely little shirt, looking cute. But I'm freezing. I'm cold here, so I wouldn't be playing FIFA right now. Nor will I do the same in Fut Champions Finals. If I have cold hands, I don't play as well, and I doubt you do too. If you play better with cold hands, do let me know, because you're crazy. All right. But also, obviously, don't play when you're tired. So say you had a 12-hour shift and you come home and you want to play. I would recommend even, have a meal, have plenty of water before that, if you have to, because a lot of us work and a lot of us do that kind of thing. And I just recommend not playing, when you're tired. You won't be there. You won't be disciplined. You won't care as much. But if you're at least a little bit less tired, or at least don't have cold hands, you might actually pull a few more results out of it. I know it does probably sound ridiculous, but it's little things like this that you can genuinely improve your game with if you can avoid them, It's very hard to avoid all these things, I get it, but if you can, do, because that is the best way to get the best results in Fut Champs, I'm only doing this to try and better your results, and I understand that not everything on this list will be possible, but I'm telling you how to get the best results, pretty much, all right? The next thing I'm going to talk about is, before heading into your Fut Champions Finals games, make sure, all right, do a warm-up, for God's sake. Now, I don't care if it's a game of rivals. I don't care if it's whatever. I'd probably prefer if it's a game of rivals, something competitive to say the least for yourself. But even skill games, practice scenario, beginner skill game, you can go in there, practice your skills, practice your time, finishing. You can do a lot in there. That's where I go. That's where I go before I play games. So definitely warming up in some way or fashion, because if your brain has been elsewhere for the past few hours, what makes you think you're going to be able to hop into a Fut Champs game and do well, So that's just obviously another tip. And I know a lot of people say, yeah, that's a good idea, I'm going to do it, and you just don't. That's fair enough, man. I'm only doing this to make sure that you guys get better results. You know what I mean? I'm not doing this for my own good. So if you want to do a warm-up. It's definitely beneficial for you. And the next thing we're going to talk about is always, all right, now this is a little bit different, all right? Previously we were talking about how to get the best results without actually playing the game. But now, all right, I want to always be thinking about how to exploit your opponent, okay? Now, what I mean by that is, you search for a game, you match a guy. The first thing you see is his team. The first thing you should be doing is analyzing his team, analyzing the strong points and the weak points. So say you see the defense and it looks great, and you're a bit scared, you see a Varane, and then all of a sudden you see a Jesus Navas at right back. And you're all right, well, he's 5'6", and he might be a decent little tackler, but there's no way he's out jumping me. And then he has Theo Hernandez in left back, and you're like, all right, I probably won't out jump him. So if you're going to do a back post cross from the right to the left, don't cross from the left to the right. Just little things like that. You need to be analysing your opponents and picking out their weak points straight away. That's what I do. That's exactly, like if I see the team, first thing I'm thinking is, oh, I have a little treat in me hand there in the right back position. Or something like that. I mean, even the CDM, if the CDMs aren't quick enough, you'll be able to keep possession of the ball in the centre of the pitch a lot more. And then when he drags out his centre mid to get you, one, he's going to be slow enough to get it, but he's going to be even slower to get back in position. So that's the kind of thing that you need to be thinking of. And that's, if you don't do it, fair enough. I'm only doing this for your good. All right. So yeah, always be thinking how to exploit your opponent. In game, it works as well. I'm not even just talking about team selection. But then, if you notice your opponent has a very keen idea of dragging the fullbacks to tackle your player, all right, and he's not using second man press, he's not keeping the wing back or the fullback in his position. What do? Just kill him down the wings. Just kill him down there. If they're not going to be there, you can be there. And you can exploit that position and that space behind the fullback. So you should be the one, completely obliterating him down the wings. If it works, it works, and these guys never think about it cerebrally. So you need to do that, okay? And they won't even cop onto it. I swear to God, man, you'll be very surprised how little people will cop onto this in a game, because not a lot of people actually think when they're playing. They just play. And if you think when you play, you're going to get better results. That's what I'm trying to say to you. All right. And then talking about thinking. All right. Now, this is really difficult for a lot of people, including myself. And that is, make sure to discipline yourself. And I know, man, I've been in a situation, and I do it often too. By often, I mean from my own, capacity. But being disciplined means your opponent does something shady, is an arsehole, whatever. Just don't get annoyed by it. Control your emotions. Because if you let your emotions get the better of you, you don't only just play worse FIFA. You feel like an absolute, the worst piece of poo that you could possibly feel after the game. Especially if you come out with a loss. Even with a win, you feel weird. I know, I've been there. So I would recommend really trying to get your head around that side of it, if that makes sense, all right? Because if you can discipline yourself, you will play your best game. And you will play it consistently throughout, regardless of the result. And that's obviously very important, because if you don't discipline yourself, you will get annoyed. You won't play your natural game. You will drag the fullbacks out. You will slide tackle. You will leave gaps. You don't want to do that. So disciplining yourself, it is that stuff doesn't happen overnight. That is something you really have to practice, and that's okay. You can practice it via exercising, taking more water, having a routine. There's plenty of ways to discipline yourself that will then better you in the FIFA world, okay? Next, we're going to talk about, again, mentality. FIFA is a mental game, all right? It's just something you really have to know. I'd say the skill ceiling is probably 20% of the game, and then it's about 80% of the actual game, all right? So the mental side of it is just huge. The skill gap and skill ceiling in FIFA is not high. It really isn't. But it's the mental difference between you and your opponent that really has the cutting edge, in my opinion. So I would just recommend looking at your opponent and looking at yourself and seeing who is in control of this game, who is the daddy, and trying to go around it that way. Okay, now let's talk about, you win a game, all right? You win a game and you're very excited and you're like, I want to get to this rank, and I think with the amount of wins/losses I have, it should be possible. Don't do that. I understand setting goals is nice, but I think for FUT Champions, the best way to look at it is take it a game by game, all right? Because you want to win every game, genuinely. Yeah, I know it would be nice, to do 20 and 10, or like this year 10 and 10 or 15 and 5, and you're like, oh, my current ratio is this, so I should get this. Don't worry about that. Just keep playing. Don't even worry about how many wins you're on or losses. Just keep playing, but every single game, just like it's the start of a new one, all right? And just keep plugging along, okay? Because at the end of the day, you want to get the best results possible. And I know not for a lot of you, it's not the best possible rewards. But why isn't it? And why isn't that always the target? I don't really, you never know who you're going to play against. And, obviously some players are just going to be better than you. That happens to everybody. That's fine. And on the day, at least. But just take it game by game, so then you can try and win that game. Don't worry about the rest of them coming and what kind of rank you could get. Just play it game by game, and I think you will have a better mentality for that game alone, because you will only have that one to concentrate on. Because sometimes you forget to concentrate in the game in front of you, and you're too worried about the rank that you're going to get at the end. Don't worry about the end until the end. Just keep going game by game. Now the next, all right, if you want to win games game by game, be a rat when you can, all right? So say you're 1-0 up, 85th minute, okay? This guy is not really coming out much. He's still waiting for you to kind of, attack him. You've been all over him all game, all right? Doesn't mean that you have to keep pressing him. Doesn't mean that you have to keep attacking, especially in the 85th minute. I don't even care if he was the one all over you and you're winning 1-0. He will do the same to you if he has given the chance, okay? So if he was the one winning 1-0, yourself, your opponent will be the one passing it around the back and making sure he secures that win, okay? So why aren't you doing it? Because if you give these people 1 ounce of a chance to do it, they will do it. So do it back to them. If you want to get wins, you have to be, be willing to go outside your comfort zone with stuff like that. I'm not saying you're going to be the greatest person in the world for doing it. You might lose a bit of your integrity, but I win. That's what I do. And that's what I have to do to get all these wins, If you want to get wins and better rewards, the only way a good way to do that is to time waste, or, for the last 5 minutes or so, because I get it, man. People want to win. But I'm going to make sure I win. And the way I'm going to do that is by exploiting my opponent, having a better mentality, being disciplined, and passing it around when I can or have to. Now, we don't always win, all right? I never always win. I'm pretty good at losing, actually. And I'm all right with losing. Losing is something that's fine, I'm fine with completely. But one thing I'd mention, even for anybody, you can be as disciplined as you like. You're going to be disappointed when you lose. So make sure after a loss, don't play again. Don't play straight away. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hate your life a little bit. And it's never a good idea to play after a loss. Because if you're playing straight after a loss, you're going in with a completely different mentality. And your mentality is kind of messed up, you know? It's just never a good thing to do, because I remember I used to go into games, and then the next, like after a loss, I'd go into a game and I'd be sliding everywhere, I'd be dragging my defenders out, I'd be already annoyed. And that's just not the way to go into a game, okay? And I know we all know that, but doing it is another complete different task. Like, taking advice is hard. I get it. I know. I'm awful at it too. But if you do listen to me, trust me on it, you will do better this weekend. And that's an absolute fact. Now, you heard of everything that I've just mentioned in the last few minutes. And what I'm basically going to say to you is, you hear all that stuff that I said? Whatever you remember, write it down on a sticky note. Put it around your monitor for when you're playing. Not even around your monitor, in front of you, or somewhere, you know? Somewhere you can see, somewhere you can look at and go, okay, remind myself to do that. And not even just the things that I've mentioned, maybe just things in your game that you need to remind yourself to do or not do. I would recommend putting that somewhere in a sticky note. That's what I do. Like, people think, oh, you're a nerd for doing that. No, I want to win. And I will win, because I'm doing all the things that I should to do. Win. But yeah, like seriously, like it sounds so stupid and simple as well. Where write some sticky notes of things, you know, you should do in a game around your environment to make sure that you do them in the game. We're not robots. We forget, especially in the moment. So having a bit of paper in front of you to tell you to do something is always a good idea. Don't even tell me it's not, because you're lying. So that's pretty much all the advice that I have to give you lovely people. I do coach, all right? I'm a coach. I'm also a FIFA player. I do a lot of things. If you're interested in coaching, do hit me up on Twitter, all right? We can go through it together. I'm also part of the FIFA Analyst Academy. Shout out big Alex. I love him to bits. But yeah, all right, boys and girls, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching the video. Peace. Good luck.